Recently, I've been playing this game Hylics, and something that stands out to me, aside from the overall aesthetic, is how the swimming animation has this little black spot that keeps popping up. In almost any other game, if this happened, it would be seen as a flaw, perhaps prompting Twitter's finest to claim that the developer is lazy. But it weirdly seems right at home with Hylics, and I started to notice these black bits throughout the different animations of the game. Hylics is a game that blends these bizarre claymation aesthetics with intentionally crude pixel art. It is a bizarre experience in a complimentary way, but my mind keeps coming back to those black pixels. As I touched upon in my Oh No It's album art video, I have noticed a very strong trend of sleekness and flawlessness being valued over uniqueness or being actually good. Take any modern expensive movie that gets a marketing budget big enough for non-film freaks to care about. No matter if it's good or bad, high effort or a cash grab, it will probably have the exact same visual look. It's competent cinematography that doesn't have too much visual flair. It's the default, yeah, this works. And this is not to disparage any individual film's cinematography or any individual cinematographers, because it's technically accomplished and it does work, I guess. My main issue stems from a more widespread conundrum, where technically accomplished and good art and entertainment are considered synonyms. You see this a lot in the gaming space. Any AAA game presentation from a company that isn't Nintendo will most likely put heavy emphasis on the graphics to the point where a lot of trailers are actually just made from cinematics or canned moments that don't represent the game. But unfortunately, in the mainstream at least, the graphical fidelity of games has become one of the main selling points instead of visual inventiveness, or a little underrated aspect of games called gameplay. There are a couple consequences to this line of thinking. First, staking everything visually on technology means that everything will become outdated in a couple of years, which is why Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is so much less fun to look at than Mario Galaxy, another game that came out in 2007 on much weaker hardware. Second, if we assert that value is determined by cutting-edge technology, then by that logic, the only people and groups that can make good art are the ones that have a lot of money, when in reality the restrictions that come with money actually cause lower budget outings to typically be more adventurous. Going back to Hylics, I have thought about how that individual game looks more than the entire Forza franchise combined. But if we were to judge on the metric of how fancy the graphics are, then Forza blows Hylics out of the water. It's true though that extreme precision is very impressive. Part of the reason why Kubrick movies are so universally loved is because of his impossible amount of exactness, birthed from an irregularly large amount of takes. Whenever someone brings up The Shining online, it's almost inevitable that someone else will bring up how Kubrick literally made Shelley Duvall have a breakdown and how horrible it is, even though you can kinda tell that whoever comments that is kind of giddy about it, like the sicko they are. I'm not gonna deny that Kubrick's precision is excellent, because, and you might want to buckle up for this take, he's a pretty good filmmaker. That being said, Kubrick would shit himself trying to make anything even remotely similar to the American dub of Ghost Stories, because the joy from that comes from the fact that the voice actors are just kind of winging it, trying to say the most insane things that come to mind. Or a more serious example, Duel, because a lot of the fear that Duel generates comes from its low budget and shaky camera. The puppets that are in Wes Anderson's stop-motion films are designed such that their hairs constantly move whenever touched. There is better puppet hair technology out there that stays in place when you touch it, but Wes Anderson wanted it such that you could see the human element, which makes his stop-motion films all the more inviting. And that's what it really boils down to. With standardization comes a decrease in human expression, because there is ultimately less of a human quality when you try to sand off all the rough edges. It's one of the many reasons why AI generations are so boring. It kind of feels like humanless mush that gets spit out that anyone who has spent a significant time on the internet will recognize immediately. Each new batch of AIs that come out are always lauded by some of the least observant people that it looks so photorealistic. Which first, they need to get their eyes checked, but second, what is the point of making something that is already useless more pristine? What good will this bring humanity, and is it really worth destroying the world in order to achieve a sleeker form of mediocrity? I hesitate to say that AI can never create Hylics. Not because I believe it can, but more so because if a tech bro somehow finds this video, they will immediately do the classic AI apologist's defense by inputting hylics into their program of choice, proudly declaring that art is obsolete, when really all they did was put something into a copier that is bad at copying. I've admittedly gotten a tad bit sidetracked from my original point, but all of this is to say that I think we need to embrace human imperfections more, because these imperfections stem from growth. This does not mean a complete aestheticization of sloppiness, but maybe it means to take a game with goofy animation a bit more seriously. If you liked this video, I recommend checking out Char's video on making arts and crafts. It's very good and really emphasizes why it's beneficial to take up artistic hobbies even if you kinda suck at them at first. Anyways, I hope you like the video, I hope you subscribe the channel, I hope you share the YouTube, I hope you have the good day, I hope you hylics, I hope you make the art, I hope you